allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's start with the district vision and mission statement. Shouldn't I? Okay. Promoting lifelong learners through real-world experiences. Please call the roll and establish a quorum.
Okay. Did you call her name last? How about that? Fields.
Here.
McConnell.
Here.
Silva.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
And Bob and Deck should be walking in the door any minute. Yes.
All right.
So we wait to do the approval of the agenda. So I actually have 5 people voting, since I'm saying 5 people are here.
I think we can move on. We'll just note when she comes in. Or have you seen her coming?
No, I just started pulling about.
Oh, you did?
a minute
Okay.
ago, but, She wouldn't want us to leave on her, but if we have to, we can.
Entertain a motion for approving the agenda.
I will move to approve the agenda. I will second that.
Draw that as long.
She's walking in the door.
Motion by Michelle. Bonnie, to approve the agenda. Please. Please call the roll.
Okay,
We're
McConnell.
approving the agenda, so go aye.
Aye. Bob and Deck.
Aye.
Okay, Silva.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Very good.
All right, we'll have time for open forum. It's time when anybody can address the board on items not on the agenda. We cannot act on them. Does anyone have anything they'd like to address the board on for open forum? All right, if not, we will proceed to the consent items. Any questions or comments or concerns on consent items?
I move to approve the consent items as listed.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by John, seconded by Cindy to approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Bob and Deck.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, old business, board policy 406.2. Review. Is there any, I'll let you handle that. Mr. Abbott.
Thanks.
Welcome, Mr. Abbott.
We'll have time for that here in a minute.
Yeah.
I do not believe there was,
The change on this one was changing the rate for long-term sub, right?
it was the long-term sub, and is that the one with the administrator just identifying it?
Nope, not yet, not yet.
That's
This is
the
this one.
Yep, that's.
Oh, this is about if they resign late, having to pay a $5,000.
That's right.
1,000.
What did I say?
Five.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
That would be great.
Yeah. Have you that much? Don't leave. Yeah.
Have we had that happen for a while?
Last year.
We had
Yeah,
one last year.
Last year?
Yeah, I thought so.
You have a good memory.
I think you left mid-year.
Science.
That's right, yeah.
So I move to approve the second reading of the revised board policy 406.2.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion by Cindy, seconded by Michelle to approve the revision of the board policy 406.2 certified employee contract release. Please call the roll.
Silva.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Bob and Deck.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right. Reports, board committee reports. Anybody have a report on any committee action or comments?
This is just more for the general public. Tomorrow night for the pool, because I serve on the rec as a representative for the school, but they're talking about indoor pools and they did a big survey and that result's coming out. So at 6 o'clock at the rec tomorrow night, everyone's welcome to attend. It's just the survey results. So I would encourage you if you have an opinion one way or the other.
All right, anybody else? Any other reports? All right, we'll go to administrators' reports.
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of do this just a little differently. Typically, the superintendent's report would go kind of towards the end. And in the agenda for next month, it'll reflect having the superintendent's report kind of go first in our reports and correspondence. So I just wanted to just kind of introduce myself just a little bit as part of my report. So my name is Brett Abitz. I'm our new superintendent. It's really good to finally see kids. So pretty pumped to see you guys on August 23rd. Permits in hand. It's been a great first few weeks getting started. I've had a very welcoming community, very energetic about some great things that we already have going on. I've had a huge support from Brenda, Laura, and Jill just on the day-to-day and my millions of questions just about, hey, where's this, where's that? So hopefully hopefully they won't get tired of me too soon. Just a couple of things, just looking forward into the next month. So IASB has asked each school district to submit 4 legislative priorities from a list of 33, so that they can advocate and lobby for our districts on behalf of us. So my goal in creating those and presenting those to the board will just make sure that they align with our current district priorities. Mainly focusing on mental health, providing universal education, PK-12, looking at teacher recruitment and retention, and then just being fiscally responsible as well. Also during the August meeting, we'll review some of the additional education legislation that was presented by Dr. Ann Lebo from the State Department of Education, just to ensure that we're updated on some of the different legislation that has come out and what impact that might have on us. So a couple of dates and things that are coming up. So this Friday will be my 4th coffee and conversations. Kids, you're welcome too. It's at 8:30 if you don't have practice. You can come on and get donuts and stuff. And then we'll do the July 29th and August 5th. We'll be at the high school. So feel free to come to that. Looking forward to August 15th, getting all of our teachers back, but I do not want to rush their vacation, of course. And then we'll be doing a pretty cool back to school celebration with all of our staff on August 18th. And of course, my favorite day of the year is August 23rd, when we get our kids back in the doors. So again, just very excited to get going with Greene County and this particular school board and all of our students, staff, and with our schools. With that, I will stop talking and turn it over to Brian or Audrey or Dave.
I'll go. I'm sorry to hear about the passing of Mike Holt, Mike Harder.
Yeah.
He got an accident while teaching probably that longtime superintendent at Greene.
Mm-hmm.
The flavor in Glidden is lemon ice cream, and the gas is $4.09, not $4.29, so it's worth the drive. Okay, if you've been wanting to go get lemon ice cream, now's the time to do it. The only other thing that I have more serious is we're still looking for a biology teacher, still a special ed opening. I haven't gotten any applications for the FFA assistant either, so those 3 are still kind of out there.
FFA assistant, you said?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right word or not.
Yeah.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
We put it
Got
last, it was pretty good last month.
Still open if anyone that's interested in agriculture and working with kids.
Yeah.
I thought Raylan had some.
I haven't heard any.
She
Nobody
asked in the
submitted.
fair if anybody didn't know, but
That's all I have.
she just sent me.
Well, I'm just kind of getting situated in the office, working on schedules.
Can I ask, and I know your name and I can see you, but if you ever do listen, if people start talking, they have no idea who you are. So,
Yes, I'm Audrey Hino. I'm the elementary principal.
sorry, but I just.
Thank you
Because
for
she's
saying
sitting under
that.
the camera, they
Yes.
can't even see her.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I
Yeah.
picked this spot on purpose. We're just working on schedules and trying to communicate with parents, trying to answer any questions they may have. And we're working on our hiring a secretary. on the process of hiring a secretary, so. Let's keep it busy.
Have you had interest in that position?
Yeah, yep, we have our interviews on Monday. So,
All right, I guess I'll go. I'm Dave Wright. I'm the new activities director, 7 through 12, so I'm excited to be here. Excited to be back in Greene County. I am a native Greene Countyan. So I graduated from here in 1991. So it's excited to get back and meet new people and see some people that I've known for a number of years. But yeah, just getting rolling here. Last couple weeks, some updates. If you've noticed, we have the new video board is installed out at the football field. We will be doing training on that Friday morning at 10 o'clock. They're on-site training. If their person can find a car from Des Moines to here, he was having trouble finding a rental car, so.
We'll get
We'll get him here. So we may be calling. you
How many
guys.
will train on that then? Dave?
Open, what's that?
How many will train on that?
Right now, we have 3 that will train on that. Myself, Brent, and Kelly, with Ram Fanatic. So we will train on that.
Misty's not training them?
She is unavailable. She's,
Oh.
has something going on that day, so
Oh.
she's unavailable. And they gave us tomorrow or Friday, and Brent's gone tomorrow. Misty was gone Friday, so. Just some updates, like, I've been working on schedules, getting myself familiarized. If you didn't know this, we are switching to Bound as our platform for scheduling everything. So our school is no longer part of our district. So I'm learning along, and it's new. So there's some bugs and things to work out and figuring those things out. So that's going to be something we want to encourage everyone that's involved with any activities, not just athletics. All of our scheduling will be on that. Misty's been doing a great job going through and getting the school events and different things with the extracurricular and co-curricular groups. I'm working on the schedules for the fall, which most of them were in. Todd had put most of them in. It's just double checking, triple checking, making sure I don't look like a fool in the first month of the job here. So I've been meeting with some of the coaches, getting to know them.
Can I ask a question on
yes.
Bound?
Yes.
Is that for internal use or is there an app that public?
There's
can
an app, the
access
Bound
as well?
app, which I'm gonna be sending out communication to parents that's where everything will go through.
Okay.
And I think we're going to use them for the ticketing. They're a little bit cheaper than hometown ticketing, and it's all part where you only have to go to one place rather than having multiple places to go. So yeah, thank you for that question. I should have mentioned that, but it's just look for Bound, or I don't know if in the app store, if it's gonna say Varsity Bound. They changed their name here 6 months ago or whenever it was. Might have noticed if you drove by, we had some other schools that qualified for baseball in the state baseball at Carroll. They used our facilities to practice, and they really appreciated that. So we're happy to be able to help them. And then just wrapping up the baseball and softball season. I think I was talking to Doug Reeder, I think the first time, and I think he said maybe since 2014 or 12 or something like 8 years, I think, that both our boys baseball team and softball team both won their opening round tournament games. So that's exciting. We had some all-conference performers in baseball. First team was Braden Roberts as a catcher. Bryce Stalder is in the infield. Second teamers were Justin Stream for outfield and Joe Carey as a utility. And then honorable mention, Max Riley and Cole Teeples. And on the softball side, first team Emma Hoyle, pitcher. Second team Olivia Shannon, outfield. And honorable mention, Emma Stream and Alexa Peters. So that's all I got for you today. So
Good work. Welcome.
thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So I'm Brent Gersma, Director of Technology here at Greene County. It's been a busy summer, but it's been a good busy summer. We are about 3/4 of the way through our elementary security camera project. Got TechZone installing those. They were waiting on a lift, and now they have it. So they've got all the cameras that they could reach installed, and now they'll be installing the higher up ones with the lift, hopefully this week yet. Not this week, hopefully next week. So again, almost done with that project. July 8th, we had our new staff come in, our teachers, and we actually had every teacher come in for training, which was great. So we brought 2 clever touches in here and showed them how to use those. Brenda was able to get the business office documents done for those. And then big shout out to Aaron Daniel, Luke Boyd, and Heather Schmidt, formerly Heather Mencken. They came in voluntarily and spent an hour with them to kind of discuss what specific technology for their building they used to kind of introduce them to that stuff. So that was really a good morning, good day. Seems like we've got some really good teachers coming in. So kind of excited about that. We've got Chromebooks ready to be distributed in carts. Chelsea Sanderson has been working her tail off on those. We bought 350. We had actually 422 Chromebooks because we had a big amount of Chromebooks that were end of life. So we had to replace those with these new ones. But of course, with that comes documentation, inventory, distribution. It's a long process. So Chelsea's been kind of the mastermind behind all that, and she's doing wonderfully. So I've also been working with Brett on some upcoming projects, hopefully not pestering too much, but I'm a big policy guy and I want to know what his standpoint and views are and that kind of stuff too. So props. We did well. So big thank you to Brett for taking time with that. And then as David mentioned, I'm at a cybersecurity conference tomorrow in Pocahontas with all the tech directors. They put it on to kind of introduce us to different things we can do to help stabilize our networks and secure ourselves. From that standpoint, I also will be picking up a Chromebook cart from the tech director that's from Esterville in Central. We needed one more, and he volunteered it. So save the district some money that way. So I'll be taking a Suburban there and bringing one back. Yeah, so thanks. Questions for me? All right.
Sean DeBoss with Buildings, Grounds, and Transportation. We got our new buses in last month, and they went through their check. There's a 100-point checklist they have to go through before we can put them out on the road, and they pass without any problems. Old buses, we sold some things on Purple Wave, so we got rid of, I believe it was 4 buses in a truck. They've all been aged out as far as service, and we had a couple of them left from the days of Greene where they were not, they were hydraulic brake buses, and now everything's an air brake. So got a downsized a route, so we're trying to get down to a usable number of buses rather than, we always like to have a couple spares, and then we have at least 3 buses for activities. Hopefully our new scheduling won't schedule more than 3 things out at a time. Or you'll have to get your bus driver's license. So. Everybody that gets hired needs to get that. Just keeping up with the grounds part, the windstorms and the mowing of the yards have been a full-time task, along with the applying sod in June in 100-degree weather, which was not our best decision, but we've got about 70% of it taking very well, and 30% we're having troubles with. And unfortunately, it's on the 50-yard line and sideline. So they'll be back down in tomorrow to make another evaluation on where we're at and what we can do from there. I know Adam with the buildings has got a lot of we're playing move the dumpster for carpet, and every building's got new carpet going in. I know the elementary's been getting a lot of HVAC units replaced, part of that ESSER fund money, I believe. So a lot of things happening in and around. So
Karen Shannon, District Math Instructional Coach. I don't have a lot to share because we don't have kids yet, but I was going to let the board know that both Malia Gannon and I went to a week-long training at the end of June called Cognitive Coaching. And to be sitting in a classroom during a week of the summer, you think that it was the worst thing that could happen, but I learned so much from that class, and I was so thankful that I spent, that week of the summer learning. It made it both Malia and I feel more equipped and ready to help teachers and to help them figure out ways that they can meet students' needs. And so just a really great class. And then I took another one this morning, actually, that was just math called what was it, struggle, Audrey? Productive struggle, sorry. It was an online class and there was people from all over the country sitting in on it. And it was just all about how to help kids know that math is sometimes hard and that struggle is part of the learning process, and to encourage that, not to take it away from them and jump to their aid too quickly, but to let them struggle through it, because that's where real learning happens. So it's kind of all we have to report for math. So.
Good. Is that all the administrators? Yeah. Well, I guess I failed to welcome you. I should have done that at the beginning of the report here, but I just wanted to say welcome from the board and from our school system, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you so far, Brett, and we've really going to expect good things here. So. No pressure. And we have special guests here tonight. I should mention Jim and Joan, correct? Abbott's. This is Brett's parents from Toronto.
Close.
Close
to Toronto.
Well,
North of Toronto.
okay. What's the name of the town?
Very proud.
Okay. Well, but welcome. Yeah. Is this the first time you've been down to Iowa then, or? No.
I've been here in 3 years.
We haven't been here in 3 years
Oh,
because of
because of
COVID.
COVID, yeah.
But
Well,
I've certainly been to Ames and Des Moines. And
well, welcome.
thank you.
And we're thrilled to have your son here and his family, and I think they're going to be great additions, not only to our school system, but to our community. So,
No pressure.
so welcome, Mr. Evans. Yeah. All right. Is there any other reports or correspondence, Sam?
I think maybe you should mention that ISB came down and met with us.
Oh, yeah, sure. So IASB came down and did a financial focus with us, Brenda and I, on Monday. We went through and reviewed a number of different things, and they had a lot of positives for us. The good thing for us is our enrollment is trending in a really good positive direction in terms of what that'll do for our overall budget. As we know, like our schools are primarily funded. We're a student funded formula, so we're looking in really great shape. The board set a goal to have an unspent balance of over $1 million, and they commended us on being able to stay there. Our unspent balance and our solvency ratios are right within the range that they would expect us. They did give us just one suggestion to around fiscal responsibility, to instead of setting goals, to maybe more set policy around around maybe a percentage and a range, just in case certain things happen, that we may need to cut into that just a little bit. So just food for thought, that we can certainly discuss during a work session at some point. But it was we had a great visit with them, and had a lot of great conversation, great learning, and we're in good shape. We're in great fiscal shape for a district of our size, for sure. So.
Is that something they do annually, or because there was a change in leadership? Okay.
Yep. So they do that. So you can request them. They would come out really at any time. But with a new superintendent, school business manager relationship, they want to come out and just make sure, what questions do you have? What can we answer? Let's take kind of a deeper dive into your district's financials and start asking questions. Fortunately for us, that both Mr. Christensen and his work that he's done in the past really kind of set the district in a really good trajectory. So there wasn't a whole heck of a lot that they had to say to us in terms of suggestions or ideas of areas that we can improve on. It was just little tiny tweaks, and that's where we need to be.
All right. If there's no other reports or correspondence, we'll go on to new business. And we'll start out with school driving permits. Bonnie, you usually run this part for us.
I'm getting used to it now.
Okay, so we have 4 of you guys here tonight that are looking for school permits, so I'm just gonna ask each of you, and I'll just go by name in order there, just why you need a school permit. So, Casey, we're starting with you.
So I live out in the country and I'm also in volleyball, basketball, softball, track and cheer.
Busy. Awesome, okay, and then is it Lila?
Yes.
Okay.
I need supplement because I live 25 minutes away and I have a lot of extra activities.
Can I ask where to live, 25 minutes?
Peyton.
Okay, awesome.
They're opening all the doors.
Gotcha, very good.
Is Brianne your sister?
Brianna is.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Georgia. Ella, you are next.
I need to get a permit because I live in Grand Junction, so it's a little far away from the high school. I also have a couple of extra activities that I do after school, like choir and piano, so.
All right, and then Natalia, you're up.
I would like to do my school permit because I'm involved in sports and I live about like 10 minutes away from town, so that would be a lot nicer if I had one.
Yeah, awesome. Well, all good reasons to get a school grant. So I'm gonna just run through, so you guys should all have, or we have the Iowa DOT, so this is something you guys actually file with the courthouse, but I'm just gonna highlight some of the things that the community and us as school board members and leaders in the district see people break quite often, so things is to really be aware of. You cannot drive without an adult between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. So that means if you're gonna get home late from an activity or have to go really early, school permit doesn't apply anymore. So just kind of plan that out if it's gonna be a late night or really early morning. Your drive from home to school sponsored activities must be the most direct route. And activities must be at the school the student is enrolled in, so other district things. Stopping for fuel should be on the route or the closest filling station, so you can't go to your favorite place with the best food. When driving without adults, the student may only carry one passenger that's not a relative. And a relative is someone that basically lives in your house. So you're not supposed to have more than one person in there that isn't a direct family member. You know where you're going to and from school, so you don't need a phone. So you're not supposed to ever have your phone in your hand while you're driving. So keep it somewhere, do not disturb, do whatever you need to, because we're all, get on that. We're all addicted, right, Brian? We're gonna talk about that tonight. Anytime that you have a violation, your license can get taken away or revoked for 6 months and you start all over. And just remember that a lot of people in our small town are always watching and they always turn people in. So parents talk, community members talk. So keep that in mind that others are watching. And that is all I have for you guys. The rest is on you to get filed out and filled out with your parents and get all that done. Do you guys have any questions on anything? Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for coming. I think Steve will.
Motion to approve.
Oh, and we need to make a motion. I would make a motion. Thanks, Brenda. I will make a motion to approve the 4 presented here today.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Bonnie, second by Cindy to approve the school driving permit requests. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Bender. Aye. Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Now, do you have the
Come on,
forms that
if
you
you guys
need?
have your
Yeah,
forms,
come up
we'll
and
go
we'll
ahead
just
and
sign the
sign.
forms and then you can all leave, so.
Yeah, good job. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Come back anytime.
Unless you'd like to stay and
Yeah, you can stay.
experience the school board
Yeah, I
meeting.
miss our one student who came every month after the practice.
He must have just been by last time. I was
All right, thank you very much.
We thought we were doing it in the council.
He just kept coming after he got through. Yeah, he was one of the first ones.
But he's not here.
Well, next 2 years.
Maybe they're on.
See us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Right, so-
That you gotta find a car, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
same car. I was thinking. There you go. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
Everyone.
See you later.
There you go. Good job.
All right, out-of-state travel request, the FFA to the National Convention.
I'll give that one to you.
Yeah, this is something FFA's been doing every year, and Mary Lynn realized she hadn't asked permission to go yet, and I told her she needed to. So she wasn't able to be here tonight, but she does have a nice little letter about it, so.
And I'll say one of my girls went last year, kind of filled in last minute because football boys went to state,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah. So Allison went last minute and she just had such a wonderful experience. Just,
They came and talked to us.
Just a
and then they come and
They
talk to
came
us
and talked to
afterwards.
us like our first board meeting.
side note about last year, I took the group over to Ames where they
Get on.
got on a charter bus, which is different than what we've done in the past.
And they're doing that again.
That is by far, I think, the best way for that to be handled. That
Because
was-
before, weren't they taking Suburbans and
We were
stuff?
taking
Yeah.
2 to 3 different Suburbans and trying to find drivers that would fit underneath our insurance. And this, the way it worked last year was Carol came over with a group of students, picked up Glidden students, got to us. I went on to Ames. I think we were over there before 6 a.m. with the kids and got that, we stopped at Ogden and picked up another group. And so it was kind of nice, or those kids had a chance to communicate before they got onto the big bus. So it was good for everybody to get around to different groups of kids and see that part of it.
Her letter says the convention is October 25th through 28th, and they'll be traveling on charter bus with Glidden, Ralston, Ogden, Ames, Roland, Story. They'll also take a day trip to Louisville, Kentucky's agricultural industry. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I would make a motion to approve the request for out-of-state travel.
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Bonnie, seconded by Michelle to approve the out-of-state travel for the FFA. Please call the roll.
Bobbit. Aye. Connell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, milk and bread bids, item C.
No, Laura can handle that.
What?
Laura can handle that.
For the milk bids, Anderson Erickson had the lowest bid for all those items. And then for bread, we only had one bidder, so.
And that's who's doing it now, and who we had last year.
Yeah.
And who is that?
Can of gold.
Oh, is it on here?
It's right
Next
here,
page,
it's
next
kind of
page.
grayed out.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't scroll down, okay.
And I'm glad Anderson Erickson won because Duluth wouldn't have it any other way.
Kids won't drink the other stuff.
But that, yeah, that's what she said.
That's
Okay.
what she said.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No good.
Unless you're from Minnesota. The kids won't drink probably Anderson Eric.
Okay, can I just ask a random question? How come we vote on it when their money's kind of separate anyway? Is it just a format we always
You
have?
have to.
Okay, and no real reason, it's still all their bank account spending that, and
Right,
going in,
right,
okay.
right, there's still a
Just an
school
approval
entity.
of it.
Just an approve, okay,
Yeah.
well then I would make a motion to approve the bids with Anderson Erickson and Pano Gold.
Second.
All right, motion by Bonnie, seconded by Cindy to approve the milk and bread bids. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Bobbit.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, student book fees and meal prices, activity ticket prices.
So just asking the board to just approve those. The activity ticket prices have not changed from the previous year. Meal prices are in line with, let me make sure I get this right. Is it with the
Federal requirements.
federal requirements, thank you. And then our student book fees, I do not believe there's a change with those either.
Correct.
Well, I know I'm gonna get asked this, are kids paying for their meals?
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately.
I thought they were.
It's too bad, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard after 2 years of not paying,
Yeah.
yes.
And with the economy struggling the way it is,
Yeah.
people's budgets are gonna be tight this year.
It's still cheaper than going somewhere else to eat though. To Casey's or,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Subway, but you know.
Absolutely.
Somebody
All right,
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of these fees and prices?
I will approve those. I will move to approve those fees and prices.
All right,
Second.
seconded by John, motion by Michelle to approve the student book fees, meal prices, and activity ticket prices. Please call the roll.
Silva.
aye.
Bobbit.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, the 22-23 depository resolution.
By law, schools have to set a maximum amount of money they would put in any one bank. And these are way inflated. We don't really need, I mean, they were inflated highly. It was 14,000 before, and that was mostly due to the construction and all that extra bond money and stuff. So I put them back down and we'll still be able to stay within those limits. I
14
believe.
million.
14 million, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm moving them down to 10 million and just increase ISHA a little bit just to make sure we didn't mess anything up. So,
And Heartland's new this year.
yep, Heartland's,
Yeah.
yep.
When we moved to, was that last month maybe, start utilizing Heartland Bank? So we are moving,
Just management.
okay, so we withdrew money from
People
from there.
which that's, I've opened the account yet, but I haven't closed the other one yet. But
Okay.
that's all still in the works. Yep. We're getting it all moved.
All right.
So I ask for approval of that.
Yeah. Any other discussion on that? Not, I'll ask for a motion on that.
I will move to approve the depository resolution for 2022-2023.
Second.
Okay, motion by Michelle, seconded by Cindy. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right. Item F, board appointments, secretary, treasurer, and legal counsel.
That's the same as it has been for several years.
Brenda Muir as secretary. Sid Jones as treasurer, correct?
Yep.
And legal counsel is the firm or Adam?
It's the firm.
The firm, okay. Peterson,
Muma.
Muma Peterson, yeah.
I would move to approve the appointments as presented.
I will second.
Right, we have a motion by Michelle, seconded by Bonnie to approve the board appointments. Please call the roll.
Dominic.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, item G, handbooks. Turn that over to one of you guys.
Sure, yeah, just asking the board to approve the handbooks as presented. Take any discussion, you all happy?
You might point out the student parent handbook is separate now.
That's, yeah, that's also true, yeah, so for our district, yeah, the student and parent handbook is.
There's separate ones for each
It's
building.
separate one, we're gonna do something separate for each building, high school, elementary, and middle. We do have one, elementary, we don't have one here just yet, Audrey's gonna work with her team and she'll get that done. So that was kind of me throwing it at them slightly last minute, so we may need to make some adjustments and amendments next month, but by and large, they'll still be pretty darn close.
I overall like that as, because it's age specific.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And I think most of the changes are just, there should be in red if there's changes.
How do we, how are the students and parents made aware of these changes? Do we just post it on the website? Or do they sign it every year? I should know these things because I'm a parent.
I asked the same thing, because I would like, on the middle school, and there's a signature page, but not on the high school, but I just thought maybe in general, that should be something done yearly. Not that you don't have to track in if you miss one, whatever, but just try to get people more aware.
Of the changes or the handbook?
Handbook, both, and I would say.
I would say just leave the handbook, the changes in red so they know. Versus making it all black, it doesn't matter.
If we don't need to tell everybody we made changes to the handbook.
Nobody, this is just my own opinion, nobody looks at that handbook until their kid's in trouble or there's an eligibility issue.
So maybe they need to look at it to know there's changes.
I also agree, because actually, I've never read them from cover to I mean,
It's
personally.
exhausting, I've done it.
And I, well, I started to, and then I had to keep going with prepping for this meeting, so I stopped.
I haven't
but I
done these
do-
yet, but I've done all of our previous.
Right, and I do
Yeah.
think it's important, because it's like, oh, I didn't know that, and I think I follow all the rules.
Yeah.
And I don't.
I think it's equally important for the staff to read it, because there's a lot of things in there that the staff might not realize, and it's in the handbook. So I think that the staff needs not just read the staff handbook, but they need to know what's in the parent-student handbook.
And also with, and I don't know discipline, but when you are disciplining a child, I think it's good to say, look in this handbook, this is right where, like, again, to bring it back up, this is where it is, it's not anything new. Whatever the discipline might be, but.
So how do we do it? Or make everybody know that we did something.
Or
I don't tell
how,
them.
or how
In the past,
how have, like high schoolers, do they have to sign off? Do they just,
I never did anything.
I don't remember doing anything.
There is an
with my
addition in
girls.
the middle school handbook, there is one for the student and parent to sign that they have read it, not that they agree with it, of course,
Read
but,
it, yeah.
you know, so we can talk about that as an administrative team if we want to do that, so, it's up to you guys, you can either go through with, you know, approving them as they are, or I believe table it.
is there also, Brett, an easier way that you can get electronic signatures on these? So that it emails out to each student? It's an easy thing to say X, Y, and Z didn't do this, and it's not something that someone's tracking.
Right, so with online registration, there's a bunch of different check boxes essentially viewed, especially for technology stuff. Because there's a ton of agreements that they have to basically agree to before they can get a Chromebook and have a Google account. So we just do a checkbox with a link next to it. If you agree to this, select this box, and they can't register basically unless they check those boxes in some cases. If they have a problem with it, they have to reach out to us before they can finalize the process. So
Is there already a checkbox, Brent, that
No,
says I've read the handbook or?
Not for the student handbook.
There's one for field trips though. So when you do a field trip, when you register, you can click the box that says, yes, I give permission for my student, my child to participate in field trips. So it'd just be a matter of adding another checkbox.
I think there's even one like Tylenol, you know.
Yes.
It's okay
Medication
to give them
distribution.
Tylenol.
Well, and I would also, I mean, potentially makes a suggestion of putting it there, but then also anytime a kid is in a new building, that it goes to them individually, not just on that registration, because.
It's probably too late for this year anyway.
Click, click, click,
Yeah,
click,
there's
click.
too many people
Right,
already registered.
absolutely, but I'm normally going through on too many kids and I'm at fault that, sure, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever we're doing.
Yeah, no one reads it.
But that's where when they go into the new building, say, hey, this is it. Or even at, when the kids come for 5th grade into the middle school. Here's again.
It could be blasted out to everybody's email.
We can send it via email, we can post it on social media, we can even send a text, and then if they want a school, we can send them a sheet with the kids in a backpack that says, we'd like to sign this. So,
And I think just to address your question regarding how would people be made aware of the changes, we can always post a link to the school's portion of the website and say, here's the changes in red that are already signified in red. Here's the finalized presented version. So that way if they want to see what the changes were, we can post the 21-22. Here's the changes for 22-23. Here's a finalized version for 22-23. That way there's that level of transparency that they can see what is the difference between the 3 copies. So, because once we go through and finalize it, that red can come out pretty simply anyway, so.
Who's in charge of making that happen? Is that the administrators in each building or
Which part?
making sure that all this takes place next year? That all these changes are made and.
That they're implemented?
Yeah.
That would fall on the building administrators.
Yeah.
And these would be effective this year.
They would be.
Yeah, like next month.
All right, any other discussion on the handbooks?
Are we gonna require signature? I mean, because to me, it sounds like Brett, this is gonna get bad. Brent and Brett, so.
I know.
excuse me.
Just tell me, Brett.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Brent is Mr. Gersma.
There we go.
If you can put it out to him, I would almost suggest that we go ahead and do that. If we can email it out and it's something that there's an easy electronic way, but it's not you're sitting there counting or you're sitting there counting. I mean, that's a no.
We don't want to do that.
But just something that hey, these kids are looking at it or whatever.
They at least have it in their hands,
Correct.
that they can refer to it.
We started something like that with COVID, so we can work through that.
At the bare minimum, we just need to let everybody know we made changes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's the
Changes
minimum.
are in
Like,
there.
we got changes in our handbooks. Be aware.
Yeah, and the changes are good.
Yeah.
I like the changes.
I'll touch base with building administrators and Brett. That's,
All right, so.
And there was one other minor change in the handbook. It would talk about COVID-19. It says the 10 days and I hadn't mentioned it. But
Yeah,
it's
just putting it as,
for CDC
per
guidelines.
CDC guidance, and then that we probably need to look at our,
Because they change them all the time.
and
Well,
then that
they
way we
changed it
wouldn't have to
once. I'm
continue
sure they're gonna
update
change it
policies and
again.
handbooks and everything else like that, if they decide to give us whiplash again with what they require, so.
Was that in both, handbooks? What you were talking about,
Everything.
Cindy?
It was
in
for
the high school and middle
sure,
school
I
as
think
well.
so.
Remember Brian, what's on yours?
Common child design on
Yeah. it's in
58 is
COVID.
middle school. And 82 is high school, I think, pages. I think it was on both. Yeah. Sure. 21 through 20.
Do we want to go ahead and approve them then, or wait until the changes are made on the electronic?
Same. I think we can do them all at once when they're finalized. Because I'm gonna be honest, Sean had us sent it out and a few days ago, and I just got back to him today with things I saw. So I'm sure what you have is not anything that reflects.
But you also realize school starts like 3 days after the board
Yeah.
meeting when it may be approved.
Yeah, it's true.
Why can't we approve them the way they are? We can always make changes to
Exactly.
them.
Yeah.
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 With the condition that you're gonna put the box on the registration.
Well, that's not gonna work
for
next
next
year.
year.
You've
That-
already registered,
That won't be able to happen.
Right.
but the email
We can
blast should
still-
be able to happen.
Yeah, okay,
Communicate with community.
all right.
I don't see.
We can approve them now, or there's nothing wrong with approving them a week before school starts, nothing. I don't know, either way.
How many additions or corrections do you think are still out there?
I think in my email to him, there was maybe 6 things, 6 different small things.
Okay.
But I don't know that he'll agree with I was just sharing my thoughts, so it doesn't necessarily, we haven't had a conversation about it or anything. So,
I would suggest that we approve it. I know, I
I
would say
would too.
approve these and get it out, because there's the bulk of it's out. If there's any little things, it could even go in an email blast and say, we reapproved it with these 5 little pieces, or whatever it might be, or however many additional changes. So that people can have it before, 3 days before.
Revise them later with the changes, yeah, if we need to do that.
That's fine. So I'm
Sounds
guessing
good.
they're not major, that it's gonna. So I will move to approve all the high school and middle school handbooks as presented, the changes in red.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion to approve the high school and the middle school handbooks as presented. Please call the roll.
Slivak.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Domdeck.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Now the employee handbook. Any
Biggest changes in here were just around my OCD in terms of editing and formatting and having consistent font. Top to bottom.
Awesome.
So I could see.
And then we did put in the section about teachers having the opportunity to purchase back days. So that was included in there. I believe there was an insurance, or sorry, for those taking up MLA, just kind of cleaning up some of that language. But by and large, from last year to this year, it was more or less just editing and formatting. And there's a section of the back for all employees to sign that they have received a copy and have read it and understand it.
I move to approve the employee handbook as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Cindy, a second by John to approve the employee handbook as presented. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
Slowbaugh.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, the coach and director handbook.
Let me comment on that. Basically, there were no changes other than just updating the names and the start dates. And then I added at Mr. Abbott's request, I have a thing on the bottom on the last page that states that they've been read and understood and that kind of thing. So nothing different than what's been there before. My goal is that through the year, listen and observe and then make changes as necessary. Is kind of how I approached it.
I guess move it again, the coach director handbook.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Cindy, seconded by Bonnie to approve the coach director handbooks as presented. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Slowbaugh.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye. Fisher.
Aye. All right, bus driver handbook.
Again, nothing too wildly significant here either. There's the mileage increase. I believe that's was in there that was just updated. Other than that,
If you remember, when we negotiated with them, we moved from paying them a salary for their routes to hourly.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's in
Yeah.
there too. Okay, I would make a motion to approve the bus driver handbook.
Second.
All right, motion by Bonnie, seconded by Cindy to approve the bus driver handbooks. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Slowbaugh.
Aye.
Fisher.
All right, item H, 2080 agreement and food service agreement with New Opportunities Head Start.
This is something we do every year. It's just the formality. Yep. They have to have the food service part of it to be able to do their claims, and we pay them. They pay us for the meals if they're employed. The Head Start classroom, they employ some of the people, and their people, they reimburse us for the meals they eat as part of it. And then they pay us a portion toward the teacher's salary of the 3-year-old Head Start room. So it's no change from prior years.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2080 agreement and food services agreement with New Opportunities Head Start.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Bonnie, seconded by Michelle to approve the 2080 agreements with Head Start. Please call the roll.
Dominic.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Slowbaugh.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, the 2022-23 sports medicine coverage contract.
This is more or less just a formality. It's something we do every year. It gives us from 21st Century Rehab, so they'll be here at all home football games, and they give us a wide variety of coverage and support during a whole host of others. It's I believe that the fee that they are charging us is the exact same as it was last year.
No, I think it's $500 more.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yep,
It
yep, it was close though, yeah.
So marginally,
Yeah.
honestly, compared to
But the additional ones are all the same.
Yeah. Compared to the support and service that we get from them.
We have to agree to keep purchasing the impact software, right?
Sorry.
That impact software, we have to put that up. For concussion test, baseline screens.
Yep. Yeah, we get it every
Yeah.
year. I haven't heard from them yet.
I've not either.
We'll give them incentives.
That it'll be coming soon. Usually they're like butt right up to like the beginning of football, volleyball, cross country. So
I would make a motion to approve the agreement with 21st Century Rehab for sports medicine coverage.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Michelle, seconded by John to approve the 2022-23 sports medicine contract with 21st Century Rehab. Please call the roll.
Silva,
Aye.
Davidic,
Aye.
O'Connell,
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, item J, map growth assessment proposal.
I can take this one. So this is, so the map growth assessment was instrumental to the success of my previous school. And it is something that I think our teachers will thrive having. So it'd be for kindergarten through 11th grade. The map growth assessment is a nationally normed assessment that students would take 3 times a year. The assessment is an adaptive assessment, so as students perform better, the questions get a little bit more challenging, the standards go up, the rigor goes up, and as students aren't performing as well, then the rigor goes down, the standard level goes down as well. It gives students a growth score for what they have to do in between each assessment, so we know exactly where they're at compared to all of their same-aged peers. And it gives them, puts them in a percentile ranking. There's also reports that we can use from this assessment that will give our teachers the opportunity to look at what are some standards-based practices in instruction that they can provide to kids, in alignment with their curricular resources that we already have in place. It'll tell our teachers what students need more support with, or maybe perhaps intervention. What are some things that they're ready to continue to improve on that they're already doing at standard, and what are some things that they're even ready for to extend or go beyond just grade level. Within this proposal too, there's we'll have training that's provided by NWEA. They're giving it to us at a 66% discount. I'll call it a good relationship discount with them, just knowing that I worked with the same vendor in Council Bluffs. So that'll be a training for up to 30 teachers, which will easily cover all 3 buildings in terms of implementation, running it, diagnostics, and just general testing. And then they'll actually come back after our first window of assessments and then provide us training and support on how to read and understand the reports, how to use the reports, and how to use that to leverage student instruction or teacher instruction for students.
Right, this is just a reading or just reading and math?
So good. Thank you for letting me, now I can continue. So this is it'll be for reading and math. And then we have the option, if we want, we can add science, and we can dipstick in 5th, 8th, and 10th if we want. Also within the assessment, there is a state assessment predictor tool. And so I would be remiss if I didn't pay homage to Dr. Marty Shudak out of Council Bluffs. Him and I did a big, huge data dive and found that the reliability of the statewide assessment predictor was within about 3% at all grade levels in CB, 3rd through 8th. And so at each grade level, just keep in mind they have about 750 kids. So for example, if in map reading that we had about 60% of our kids proficient, in ISAS they were somewhere in between about 57 to 63, so like really, really tight. And it can give us a leg up in terms of, again, we can find out where specific student groups are. We can know how they're growing. We know what sort of instruction we need to be providing them, again, in alignment with what we already have. And a huge benefit for elementary is that, so this is not one more thing. So while it seems like we're adding one more thing, where I'm actually taking 2 things off the plates of our elementary teachers. So there will be no more FAST for reading, and there will be no more A math. Those will go away. The Department of Education approved MAP as a screener in July of 2020. that is in accordance with the early literacy initiative, early literacy implementation. And so it would allow us to use it as a screener tool. I have a big bias towards it as a screener tool, simply for the consistency that it provides in those students who do need that intervention and do need that additional support, that it really will target a very consistent group of kids, where the research that I did in my previous district did not find the other two tools to do that. And then there's the other option, which is not included in this proposal, but there's an additional option to add there's a tool within it that you can use. It's called Map Accelerator, which we also found to be statistically significant for students in 5th grade up, to help them kind of extend where they're already at and continue growing faster than the rate of their peers at a national level. So I put together in the proposal just a whole number of videos. There's the reliability chart that we found, when we're looking at, close to 4,000 or 5,000 kids, the statistical significance of that is pretty darn high. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Are you proposing the 3-year?
Yeah, so I would propose the 3-year. Thank you. You guys are so helpful. Just like on this. So yes, I would propose it at the 3-year, simply because we get a pretty significant discount there. We could purchase it just for this upcoming year. However, I would recommend, I can't recommend, sorry. I would
Sure you can.
encourage you. I would encourage you to, I encourage you to look at the 3-year purchase, just because of the significant price and decrease that you can see in that year 1 subtotal, year 2 subtotal, and year 3 subtotal. Plus the discount that Amy is her name from NWA is giving us on the training. I believe if we were just to purchase it like 1 year at a time, for 3 years, I believe we would save close to $13,000.
Now, I have a question.
Sure.
The elementary programs, or FAST was it, and one other?
And AMATH.
Yeah, do we pay subscription for those?
We do.
Is there, for all the data, right?
So we're gonna save money on not having to subscribe to those, correct?
If we had all 3 and we were just taking those away, then yes, it's not as significant.
It's not. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, didn't interrupt.
No, you're fine.
So, elementary for math, is that aligned with the way our district has K4? So it'd still just be K4 that doesn't do fast? So
Or-
5-8 would continue to do fast?
We take it off for everybody.
Okay, for everybody.
This would be for K through 11.
This would be K11.
Okay,
I do not.
so fast would go away and AMAP would go away for
Correct.
everybody.
For everybody.
Okay.
But we're gonna save.
Right.
It's a
Right.
product through FAST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
the other
general
piece that we
fund.
use through FAST is the Savers, which is this emotional, social emotional screener.
Yeah.
If we discontinue using
So
FAST,
you can use certain components of FAST, so you'd still be able to keep Savers, which I would highly recommend that we do.
okay,
Just to keep that social emotional component, because it's a good, it's good to know, for us to know
No,
where that is.
We'll pay 1 year at a time. We don't
So
have
we
to pay all.
don't have to get rid of,
okay.
it's not like get rid of one, get rid of all.
Okay.
So we can select what we're on.
No, you pay
Yeah.
1 year.
I'm sorry. I mean, hold on. We're here
There's
too.
two.
I'm trying to listen to 2
Yeah.
times, and I want both.
So what Karen asked was, so Fast Bridge has FAST, which is for your fluency, which is reading.
Right.
Has AMATH, which it's also all under FAST, and then Savers, which is for social, emotional, and mental health.
And we can still keep
So
that, is what you're
yes,
saying,
so it's
right?
not, yeah, and like I said, it's not, we get rid of one, we get rid of all, like we can pick and choose the options that we want there.
And it is a subscription or it is
We
not?
do, so we pay a fee for the whole thing, and then we pay for certain components of that. So it'd be very similar to like this for MAP. If we chose to do like only reading, we would only pay so much, like if we only did math, but this would be for both reading and math, just to be able to take those other 2 off the table.
So like as a parent, so the teacher side, I think you guys will figure out, educational leader, you know, you guys do that. From the parent side, what will we like, will we get more reports of what our kids are doing or not doing more
Yep.
often?
So you'd get a report 3 times a year, and that's after each assessment window. And it'll show them, it'll say, hey, here's a couple things that they're struggling with, here's a couple things that they're doing well with, and here are some things that we can start to extend them on. It'll give you a report on a graph, especially once we go over time. You know, so I think if we get, 3 to 5 years down the road and we've started this with our kindergartners, it will show their growth over time from the time they were kindergarten all the way through, because it'll track them and keep that score all the way through. But for the first year, it'll just say, here's how they did against their same aged peer from a national perspective. And then we'll start getting growth scores as we go into the winter and as we go into the spring.
Okay.
And then with that too, we'll say, how are we gonna do as a system on our statewide assessments, which is our biggest window that people get a look into how are we performing as a district. And we'll have a chance right away, within the first month of school to say, where are we and are we on track?
I don't remember getting things like that for middle school, high school. I remember kind of getting the FAST thing, but not really, it's just a number and it doesn't, unless you know the system, you don't
And the
know
great
what
thing-
you're saying.
The great thing about the
sounds
whole
great.
tool is that it just auto generates. For teachers, they literally would just have to go in and it's like 3 clicks of a button to push a report, and you can push and run a report for your whole class, and even have the option to send it out through email, so you don't even have to print it off. It can just go all electronically. And it speaks really well with Infinite Campus. So it's pretty it's pretty easy. It'll seem really cumbersome. I'm not gonna lie, it will seem really cumbersome that first go. But then once you realize you can start to give credit to kids for, that they can handle a lot more than you think. We had first graders and second graders already. It's like, hey, it's time for our map window, hand them the computer, and they just go and they know how to log in and do it and take care of it all themselves. It's pretty wild.
With that, as far as teachers side of it.
Yep.
When would they get training and we'd start using it this year? Is that correct?
Yeah. So we get our 30 trained ahead of time during that first week of school. And then either during a morning meeting or an after school deal, we'll have teachers come in and get trained on how to implement. And we'll just use our 30 that we have and start to develop and build capacity outward.
And not there yet, what do we have for high school testing? Or do we not do much for testing, or?
We did the Fast Bridge, we did the Sabres, of course, the Iowa State assessments.
So for math, there was no screener for math at the high school level. We had used in the past, a math, but it really was.
Not designed?
It wasn't designed for high school. So, we haven't had a screener for math at the high school levels. I don't think I did it the first year I was a math coach either. I think that was the year we decided we're not doing that anymore. So we haven't had a math screener at the high school level.
So this would help
Yeah.
high school.
And I'll tell you, just in conversation from teachers who have been using FAST, there's no teacher component to it. It is not helpful to them.
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
When you get a report, it's as a teacher, there are just piles and piles and piles and piles of skills. Like, I mean, too many. Where do you start?
Right.
It's literally our teachers are like, where am I supposed to start? It does not pinpoint for you where to start making your most gains with kids, or like taking you back to the very first. It's like, well, here is you decide, it's that, having that go away, having that be shored up for us as teachers. Wow, that's gonna be a big, a really good, that's gonna be great for kids, really great for kids.
Is this, are you familiar with the old STAR assessments?
I am.
STAR seemed to do some of this, not all of what you're talking about?
STAR was nowhere near as comprehensive.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it seemed like it did more than FAST.
Oh, yeah.
So FAST was a step down from STAR, so.
CB went from the 2 years before me, they went from STAR, and then they had it for, I think it was only 2 years,
Yeah.
and then they dropped it
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
And then went to fast.
Yeah.
And then once we realized as an admin team that fast just, it casts this like little tiny net at the beginning of the year, and then the net just gets larger, which statistically or theoretically, it should go the other way. So that by the time you get to the end of the year, you're concentrating on the kids that need it the most, rather than this just, and just to kind of add on to what Audrey's saying is that it will give you specific skills that you can work on. You can isolate it down to specific domains, specific standards. You can find out, like, if we've got a math unit coming up and, we're focused on, 5 or 6 very specific big standards. You can isolate it right down to say, hey, what within this standard does this kid either not know, or what can they extend? And then how do we leverage our curricular resource that we already have to take advantage of that, and then use those tools and reports and dig into that. And I think you look at the conversations that teachers now start having. Now we're starting to have data-based conversations about student learning. And that's how teachers develop their own capacity with each other. You talk about teacher efficacy just shoots through the roof. And then students really start to take ownership over their scores and goals. Like you probably go ask my son. I mean, he's done it now for 3 years, and say, hey, where are you at? I mean, he'll tell you he's in the 98th percentile. In both reading and math. But he can tell you. But he
I got the truth teller.
The point is that he can say, hey, I was supposed to grow this many points. This is what this means. This is what my score means. This is where I'm at. I can start goal setting myself as a student. Teachers can set goals with kids. I think it's one thing it'll change the dynamics of what's going on in the classroom.
And as far as funding for this, it would come out of ESSER, is that correct?
Yep.
The first year anyway.
First year, yep.
And we pay 1 year at a time, but sign a 3-year contract.
Correct.
Any other discussion? I will make a motion that we approve the proposal for the match growth assessment
Or
3-year contract. Yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah, all right. Sounds like a great program to assess be very comprehensive about our assessment process. Yeah. We have a motion by Bonnie, yeah, seconded by Michelle.
Cindy.
Cindy, sorry.
I did.
Raise your hand for
I raised my
me. To do the 3-year subscription to the map growth assessment proposal. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye, Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Good. All right, fundraising requests.
I'm just asking us to approve the fundraising requests as.
Right, random question. How many years in a row do we have to buy new football helmets? I don't care, I'm just curious. I feel like we buy helmets every year.
Is that what one of the fundraisers was for?
Well, I don't know.
Recondition them.
Every year you go, there's a rotation that you can only use a football helmet for X amount of years, and then they have to be destroyed with the concussion protocol.
Sure.
So most school districts will buy 15 to 20 a year, so you don't get hit with that big.
I need 80 of them.
Yeah, you need 80 of them all at once, and so there's a rotation on those, and it used to be 5 years, but I don't know that it's 5 years anymore.
I think with Impact, it's now down to 3.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that. And then I just remember in Avoca, we used to smaller school, smaller team and all that, but we used to do 10 a year, every year.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
It's-
Mitch was here, I felt like we bought 250 helmets
It's,
in 2 years.
it's the animal of concussion, so.
That's fine. I've been there, so.
Is that a motion, John?
Well,
Well,
can I approve all these in one shot? or do I-
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve all the fundraisers.
I will second that motion.
All right, motion
That
by John.
motion.
Oop, seconded by Michelle. Do you have something else?
No.
No. To approve the fundraising request, please call the roll.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva,
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
And just so that the board knows, I do plan to meet with Dave and look over how it was, we were gonna do it with the last AD, but then once he was leaving, thought it would be a good idea of how fundraiser requests are asked, how often can they ask a year? It seems like sometimes we get so many and for everything, and how do we manage that? Especially one was with sponsorship levels, and so they were going to businesses and trying to make sure that businesses don't get bombarded with, I got one this month, kind of working with that, so.
Yeah, there's, I gotta do some cleaning up with, to make sure that's not happening, because, in the old middle school gym, there was a scrolling sign for ads. And so, organization called Varsity Group would put that in. I don't think it cost the school anything to put that rolling sign in, but they sold the advertisements and then took their cut, you know, and the rest came back to the school. But to my understanding, obviously Varsity Group did not help with that video board, and to my understanding, the one in the gym at the new high school, so they should be eliminated. And I gotta track that down as to who that is, so that they're not in our community asking for sponsorships above what we are as a school. And I agree, I think that should only be a one-time deal. We should, I mean, there's some things, I know they do things with the track meet where they have like a traveling trophy or sponsoring a relay or whatever, and that's, you know, that's $50, $100. I mean, that's, you know, they could
Right,
be a
just
family.
parameters of like, if it's 100 to 500 or 250 or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Right. So we'll work together
Yeah.
at some point.
I mean, that's what, I mean, there's the advertising sponsorship program that Todd put together. And then with the bound, there's another component to that. It would all be in one, but you just get more exposure. So, yeah, we can, would be glad to, once, you know, I have some questions, I need to figure some things out, but that's how it should be. There shouldn't be any outside groups coming in, selling ads for the school. To my knowledge, there should not be. So I gotta track the person down and make sure that's not happening, from what I understand.
All right. Any other questions on that? If not, we'll go on to item L, Board Policy Review 304.1 through 307.
And Brett and I are recommending that you pull out 306.1 because it's being dealt with in the next item. So if you want to review and approve everything but 306.1 in the review,
And nothing's changed, it doesn't look like in any of that.
the rest of them will not change.
I'll make a motion to approve policies 304.1 through 307, excluding 306.1.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion by Bonnie and seconded by Michelle to approve policy 304.1 through 307, excluding 306.1. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Davendick.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, item M. Let you handle this.
Yep. So the biggest ones here for the open enrollment transfers, both as ascending and receiving, are just the exclusion of deadlines. So previous, it used to be September 1 and March 1 for a district to have as a rationale to be able to deny both receiving or sending. One of the things that we talked about yesterday in our area superintendent's huddle up is the 90-day student athlete. What do you call it? Sit out. I don't know what the
Ineligibility.
Ineligibility, thank you.
Yeah.
So the ineligibility rule that does
nice.
still apply. So we couldn't have a student parachute in, just to be able to come and play football just because there's no deadline or something, something like that. And likewise, one of our students couldn't jump and go somewhere else to go play, play a different sport, because that 90-day ineligibility rule would still apply. And there's also language in there that specifies that essentially a district cannot self-impose their own deadlines. And there was, Michelle asked a really great question here too, is that there's kind of one of those either ors. Do we want it to be a superintendent approval or a board approval on approving those open enrollments? I have just a slight preference there that you would leave that to me to do, so that I can monitor class sizes, impact on buildings, and things like that before we push that over to you guys. I'd kind of throw that in the category of that might be more of a day-to-day operation versus policy and governance.
Is that something that we'd have to be notified, or you report on, we had this X
Yeah.
number of kids
So-
open enroll in or out?
Don't have to, but would. I would.
Okay.
Yep. That would be something that if there was any changes either in or out due to open enrollment, and I actually think that'll be in my best interest to do with you all, just so that you can see the impact that this has. I just on a personal note, I'm a little nervous about this from a lot of different perspectives.
Nervous on it in what way?
I think when I look, 5 years down the road, I think it might start paving the way for charter schools. If those aren't kind of already in the works, I think it's paving the way for school choice. And I'm sorry, but I'm a huge public schools fan, so I'm not going to be real quiet about that one.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Nope, I'm not. And then just to worry about what does that do in terms of if we think about ourselves as customer service, customer relationships, with parents and whatnot, if they get upset and they just want to fly away instead of wanting to staying here and working with us and problem solving and working through it. Just I think it's just going to put an extra onus on us to make sure that we're doing a great job with.
They don't have a cool down period anymore. Get mad they can just leave tomorrow.
Unfortunately,
Before we have
so as
stuff
long as
for
they're
a
still on our beds report, we'll at least get them for enrollment and funding and all that. But I worry, and I worry about two people, jumping in and our numbers going through the roof and packing classrooms, and we'll see. I think for our student athlete population, I don't think it's going to be really impactful because of that 90-day ineligibility period. But for some of our students who might be, a little bit more mobile, I think it might have an impact there. So as to what extent, I don't know. I can't predict that, but just.
So are those dates going away because?
It was passed in legislation, passed as of July 1st. That was one of the new legislative policies that rolled out.
I think it was a trade-off for the school vouchers that become here.
Yeah. And that's where my uneasiness comes in as to this is just the beginning, but unfortunately all we can do is advocate and lobby on our behalf.
Well, we just need to do a good job and
Yeah,
keep
you're
kids here,
We will.
Yeah.
We'll be ready to hire more teachers if we get to.
That's right. Well, if we have to, yeah, that's a great problem.
Doing these separately, Brenda? Or do we?
I feel like you could probably do the open enrollment ones together. But the third one probably needs a separate motion.
Okay. Well, then,
But on the open enrollment, there was one about I thought there were two things we have to decide. Number one, who's reviewing them, which,
Mhm.
and then do we have to make a decision about transportation?
But then
Along-
crossing district
Allowing
lines.
allowing crossing district lines.
Because this would also, because then we can't get wishy-washy with the, do we want other schools to be able to drive into our district and pick up our kids, and likewise, do we want to be able to go into other districts and pick up other kids and bring them here?
You can look, it's kind of addressed in the current one that we left.
Yeah, that wouldn't significantly impact. I think it's just listed as an either or, consider this. So it's just, I would recommend that we keep, I believe our current policy should state that we will not allow that for people to cross into our boundaries and pull
Our
kids.
transportation person's nodding his head. so.
Yeah, and I would highly
Say we
recommend
don't.
that we maintain that.
So no change there.
No,
Yeah.
So do we just need to X out then the or? Second portion?
well, this just being a first reading, are we? we're not-
Yeah, I guess I thought we'd polish it for the final.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So does the
So do we even have to
let's say
approve it?
for 501.13, is it gonna stay 2 pages or we get it down to 1 page?
This is the old policy. That's
Mhm.
going away. This is the new.
This is the new one, okay,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because
We just haven't
put that-
polished it up for.
together.
the
But it
old
will
one
be
with the
by
current
next
one. Yeah, that's why, just so that you can see the difference between the two.
And I'm fine with Brett approving, not having the board to have to approve it, but that, the rest of it feels like.
Yeah.
He knows more than anybody.
That's how it has been in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, that should always be the case, I would say, 'cause
So we're good to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of 501.13 and 501.14.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Bonnie, seconded by Cindy to approve the first reading of 501.13 and 501.14. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Fisher.
Fisher.
Aye.
Good. I guess I didn't hear what you thought.
It would have passed without me, so. Didn't matter.
Must be getting past my bedtime.
Yeah, me
No,
too. Well, you straightened me out a lot, so don't feel bad. Okay, BP 306.1, the administrative voluntary retirement benefits.
This is the one where we clarified what is an administrator. And so we put it down to those as their contracts are presented. So it'd be superintendent, principals, curriculum director, technology director, and then the activities director. We just wanted to just more clearly delineate out who we are considering to be administrators.
Who came off or got added? Or does it?
It was actually just never clarified before.
Okay.
It just said administrators. And then-
Okay, then I
When
saw
we're
that
looking at
right.
salaries, the
Yeah.
other people on that list is me.
Yeah.
And it's Sean and Robert and
Yeah.
Adam.
Okay.
But
This
if you
is-
think about that, we aren't the educational component.
Yeah.
Like the rest.
Yeah, that was kind of our guideline there, or guiding principle there was just that they're administrators in the building for the educational purposes. Yeah.
And then I would move to approve the first reading of board policy 306.1 with the changes presented.
Second.
All right, motion by Michelle, seconded by Cindy, right? To approve the first reading of board policy 306.1. Please call the roll.
Silva.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, item N, schedule a time with McPherson and Jacobson to do the establish the performance objectives for the new superintendent.
So just some conversation that we've had, both Dennis and Lyle, sorry, had kind of given us some guidance to maybe wait more into, September, October, and just kind of let us all kind of get our feet underneath ourselves here a little bit as we kind of start our journey together. And then before they would come back, we've kind of just thrown out some ideas as possibly looking at doing this as a special session rather than doing it during a regular board meeting. So I think we're just kind of looking for a date for us to do that.
Do they have suggestions on dates, or are we just supposed to propose to them?
He was pretty open.
Yeah, he said he had a pretty loose calendar as of right now. So.
It'll be Dennis that comes. So.
you want to stick to Wednesdays?
Let's see, our September board meeting is the 21st.
Yep.
Is that right?
So we could
It's
either
the
do.
latest it ever gets.
Yeah, it is.
And I've got a trip planned.
Cancel.
I won't be at that board meeting, actually.
What about
So,
next Wednesday?
the 28th should work, I think.
So we did the 28th at the regular 5:15 time. And this one-
28th might be pushing me as well.
Okay. He
Could we
did
go that
suggest,
first week of October?
he did suggest looking into October as well.
That would be much better for my schedule.
October 5.
I think, yeah.
Probably so. I got a wedding that first weekend in October.
You got a wedding?
Yeah.
On the 1st or the 8th? So the 5th would be okay.
So ahead of that might be a little
Yeah,
rough.
5th would be.
Yeah.
You'd rather have it the 5th of October?
My daughter would probably rather have it the 5th of October.
That'd be best for me.
And this will pretty much be in closed session, so I'm just telling you that.
It'll be a special meeting,
Special meeting
but
in
closed session, yeah.
And
New superintendent breaks supper, right?
I heard mistakes.
Well, it's Oktoberfest. It's still Oktoberfest going, and it's Yom Kippur, so.
Whatever you say.
So it's at your house?
Yes.
so you will double check with,
I will.
okay, and then you'll send us a note and let us know.
So we don't really need action on that.
I think we can just, yeah,
Yeah, just,
it can just be, it was just a discussion about what they would do.
right, yeah.
So
Well,
just tentatively October 5. if you
I'm
want.
gonna pencil in October 5th then. Put that on my calendar with a question. Hopefully that'll work for them, so. All right, item O, voted PEPAL discussion.
So we need to be thinking ahead because the voted PEPAL portion expires not this year, but the next year, but there's only elections 3 times a year that you can put forward a ballot question. So just be thinking ahead, how soon you want to start working on that. It's pretty vital to do all the things we've been doing, especially as we run out of ESSER funds to renew this for another 10
Can you,
years.
can you define what you mean by working on that? When you start working on it?
You need to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any hint on when they're gonna try to vote for a jail?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't expect that to pass first time, by the way. but-
Well, I'm just
We
saying,
don't wanna be-
Michelle
we
probably
don't
knows
wanna-
better than me.
We
how
don't
soon
wanna
they're
do
gonna
that
be.
and this at the same time.
No, right.
People already think they pay too much, so.
No, Michelle, do you have any idea when they're gonna try to push that?
And this would just
They're
be.
still having meetings, I mean, they are bringing people in, I think.
My actual thought was next November doing it. And then if it would happen to not pass, you can pass it in March, the next March.
Yeah.
But that's just mostly because that's a school election anyway. Next,
School.
in November
Somebody's gonna try to do
23
it,
is
yeah.
a school election.
Then is it a vote of yes or no, or is it a vote of, well, okay, of course it's yes or
That
no,
was just majority.
but,
Or does it have to be 60%?
No, it's just,
That's what I thought.
Simple majority.
but do we specify a percentage rate?
no,
Or
that's
a
done
levy
every, no,
amount,
that's done
or-
every year when you certify your budget.
Okay, we're just saying we wanna have this pot of money available to
Yeah.
us, okay.
Well, I shouldn't say it that way. You do set an upper limit, which the legal limit is $1.34. And that's what we have always done, but that doesn't mean we always use the whole. You decide that what you need next year. And we also fund part of ours through income surtax. It isn't all property tax, so that's something you wanna. There's people on both sides of that argument, but that's something to remember too. Anyway, we just wanted to put it on your radar that that's something that needs to be done. You don't want to forget to do it, because that's kind of bad.
Yep.
So.
Well,
And if
you need
there's-
to make sure to remind us.
Well, that's why we put it on
Yeah.
there.
This is a reminding us.
Yesterday, or on Monday, I locked her into an additional 5 years,
Oh.
so. She doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
But if there's any additional
Laura,
information that we can,
you need to.
I don't feel confident enough in.
I think
what
we
little I
have
know
to put
have
out-
a conversation with anybody about it.
Yeah, we have to put out there what we spend our public money on.
Like, what are our talking points?
Yeah, talking points.
Right.
Main talking
Right.
Your
So that's-
elevator speech. Yep.
Yes, and that's, yes, that is
And that's
why,
also something we'll do as an educational process as we get, as we kind of round the corner, around the calendar to get to
Okay.
that point.
Yeah. that's
Gets
why
us
we bring it up
first.
so early, because
Right,
it
we'll
is
get
a
us-
lot of
That will get us
important
first
information and communication. Okay. Yeah.
sales pitch to the community.
Well, that's an important one for us, so yeah, so.
It's a big one.
Anyway, so that's just informational.
How did it do last time? Did it pass our way last time, did
We haven't had a problem.
it? I didn't think so.
If you remember, maybe none of you remember, Sam never ever wanted to do it. And, because he was just sure we could never pass it, and it did. I mean, it wasn't.
So is there anything else we should be throwing on the ballot that we don't think will get there? Let me know. You don't know if you don't ask.
People generally like to keep the school.
Well, thanks to, we've got nice facilities and we want to keep them nice, yeah. And as long as we can show them that, our tax rate is slowly going down and we can continue to do that, but we need the money to be able to.
I sold
Keep
that
going.
this spring, there were a couple people that were bitching about the taxes. We actually lowered your rate this year, so quit complaining.
And we have the last couple.
My parents were one of those.
Families better.
It jumped, of course, the year we added the bond, but then it's just been coming down since then. Yep.
And I'm gonna sound like a broken record, that's why we need to continue to put out a good product, So the public, our community has supported this school system tremendously the last 5 years especially. We need to make sure we're doing a good job and supportive of it, so.
A lot of kids coming back.
I love
Yeah.
that.
A lot of kids coming back.
That's
here.
good,
All
yeah.
my kids moved back here, to live here.
Yeah, right, yeah,
There's just a
it's
lot
good
of,
for the whole community,
a lot of young people coming back
right,
to stay here.
good. All right, anything else, any other questions or comments? We'll adjourn.